Hello everyone! Today we are gathered to, once again, review a Riley Sager book. And I know I subjected myself to this experience, so this is totally on me. Before you guys call me out, I already had bought like 2 books from this author. I don't really want to draw a conclusion on how I feel about Riley Sager's books if I only had just read 1 book from him. And I think that's the joy of being on BookTube or being a reader in general. You read 1 book that you really like from a specific writer, and then you read the second book from them and you just wonder if they're just like the same person. I've had like similar experiences when reading works from, let's say, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Stephen King, or even Freida McFadden. Like sometimes it's a big hit and sometimes it's a total miss. And it just so happens this book is another miss. And no, I do not think I am cool or quirky because I dislike a popular bestseller. As I said in my last video, I really do think that Riley Sager has his plus points, which we will discuss as we review today's book, Survive the Night. Well, a bit of a warning before you start watching. In case you didn't see it on the title or on the description, I will be talking about major spoilers, okay? So take that as you will. Let's rewind to last month. I read the book, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. In fact, I also did film a review for it, and I said that the book started fine. I was curious about the mystery. I wanted to uncover what was going on, and the writing reeled me in, and then the twist happened, and I was like, what the actual So basically, I had the same exact experience when I was reading Survive the Night. But, instead of some possession or an exorcism that was going on in the house across the lake, we have a deranged Meemaw, and probably the biggest twist of all, the main character ends up marrying her kidnapper. And what's more, Riley Sager wrote this down and thought, yeah, let's go with it. This is gonna be a best-selling book. I know I just went from 0 to 100, so let me just start from the beginning. Now, Survive the Night has a pretty straightforward, linear plot, and I really don't see that as a problem at all. I grew up reading 90s novels by Christopher Pike and R.L. Stine, and I really do believe that that was the tone or the inspiration that Riley Sager was going for, because Survive the Night, the story is actually set in the 90s. So the main character of this book is a girl named Charlie. She's leaving the university with a ton of baggage, and I don't just mean the physical kind. She basically has a lot of guilt and trauma from events that have happened throughout her life. Most recently, Charlie lost her friend Maddie from a campus killer who hasn't been caught. And this is the very reason that she decides to leave the university midterm. On top of that, Charlie can't bring herself to drive on her own because she bears a lot of PTSD from losing her parents from a car accident. So basically what she does is she jumps into this rideshare program in the university, and she gets paired with this guy named Josh Baxter, which, by the way, great idea, Charlie. A killer is on the loose, let's go. Hitch a ride with a stranger. And look, I know she's been through a lot, but in reality, I'm really just not surprised that nobody wanted to drive for her and that she had to resort into meeting a total stranger. Because if Charlie was a real person, she was somebody that I met in university, I do not think I would want to be friends with her at all. I think her biggest character flaw, and I see this a lot in new adult to young adult novels, that she's utterly convinced that she's the main character in this situation, which kind of reminds me of the people that I work with in the past. Basically, they think that we're all just NPCs in their lives. Now, this messaging is kind of amplified in the book because almost everything that Charlie sees is implied to be just a movie, which could be an allegory to her PTSD or some underlying mental illness, or Riley Sager's attempt in making yet another unreliable narrator without the use of heavy drugs or alcohol. And as soon as Charlie gets into the car with Josh, it doesn't take long for her to start confusing fiction from reality. To make matters even worse for her main character, she starts uncovering things that are totally sus. For one, Charlie seemingly uncovers that Josh is actually another person. She finds out that his ID is actually attributed to some other guy named Jack Collins. And our guy Josh is actually mentioning things that only the campus killer should know about. So, are these things happening in real life, or are they all just figments of Charlie's imagination? Well, let's be honest. I read The House Across the Lake. There was just no way that Josh was the killer. I knew who the killer was from the very beginning. It was someone close to Charlie, her boyfriend, who gets mentioned in 10 pages throughout the book. A very underdeveloped character. And just when you think you have everything figured out, another wedge is thrown at you. You see, Josh isn't totally innocent. It turns out that he purposely took Charlie to this cross-country trip because he was operating under instructions of this woman named Mimao. Sorry, that was my attempt at a country accent. I don't think I did it very well. Just who was Mimao? Mimao? And just who was Mimao? Well, she happened to be Maddie's grandma. Is she a fleshed out character? No. Is she somebody that we meet at the very beginning of the book? No. Is she somebody that we meet at the middle of the book? No. Does she appear in the book at all? Not until the end. So what was this seemingly nice old lady after? She just wanted to talk to Charlie instead of, actually talking to her. Like normal people do, she decides to pay Josh to take Charlie and deliver her to this seedy motel where she could play good cop or bad cop. You can't make this stuff up. I know I sound super negative, but the thing is, the story was good, or the pacing of the book was good up until this point. All of a sudden, I got whiplash. There's an evil Mimo. Josh Baxter was actually a bounty hunter, and Charlie's boyfriend turned out to be a campus killer. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. But truth be told, even with one twist after another, I was really prepared to give this book 3 stars because it did keep me at the edge of my seat for the first half.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie. They had us. We weren't defeated, but they had us.
And, despite the whole Meemaw thing, I just don't think that, it totally ruined the book for me. But that ending, in the very end of the book, Charlie ends up marrying Josh because he apologizes and they reconnect later in life. You don't marry your kidnapper. You don't. No matter how sharp his jaw is. So basically, I don't think that this is a very good book. And Charlie is a very dumb character, to put simply. And no, I'm not gonna say Riley Sager can't write about women or male authors shouldn't write about women in thriller novels. I do think that Thomas Harris and Stephen King have made some of the most iconic female characters in the history of thriller novels ever. The thing is, I just really want Riley Sager to take notes. And I really do like the unreliable narrator trope, but you gotta give your character some depth. Let's face it, in reality, Charlie would die in a horror movie within the first 5 minutes. And I'm no professional writer, but I do think that stories, they really do need to be rooted in reality somehow. Not everything needs to be a twist. Not everything really needs to give you total whiplash or have your readers do a total 360. It needs to be grounded in reality. Give your characters better motivations, not just your villains but also your protagonists. There was a very unbelievable part wherein Charlie decided to get back into the car with Josh because she suddenly wanted to release her inner femme fatale. And up to that point, all she ever wanted was to get away. So why the sudden change of heart? It just didn't make sense to me at all. So this is yet another book of Riley Sager where I noticed that the writing was great, the editing was great, the grammars were great, the sentences were great. As somebody who works in editing, this was totally I really do enjoy reading books that are well edited. However, the whole story, the whole plot, the execution, it was really not it. So this is yet another Riley Sager book that I am giving 2 stars over 5. So I really do get the hype. Maybe Riley Sager's books are really just for dumb fun. Sort of like when you're watching the Fast and the Furious movies or when you're watching Transformers movie, you don't really expect it to be thought-provoking or profound at all. So I think where I totally take issue in terms of Riley Sager books is that I really do feel the last 2 books that I read, Survive the Night and The House Across the Lake, are the same plots or the same outlines, just in different fonts or different settings. So basically, we have like the same unreliable narrator, we have the same killer who happens to be very close to our narrator, and we have again like twist after the twist and after the twist, and the hardly believable motivations, and all the almost comical side characters. So I would like to ask everyone if there is a Riley Sager book that doesn't follow the same formula from the last books that I read from him. And again, this is my opinion. If you totally love the book, that is great. Please let me know what you loved about it. Let me know what you didn't like about it. Let me know what you would have wanted to change about it, and let me know if you agreed with any of my points. Until then, I'm very thankful for you guys for watching this video and for watching the videos that I put up before. I'm very happy to see like slow growth but very meaningful growth in my channel. And if there is a book that you would like me to review, let me know. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!